There are a lot of discussions around the benefit of cash flow on a historical basis. And certainly, cash flow calculations that are done in the rearview mirror add a lot of value to the analysis and the full picture of understanding a business's health. It can also help you identify timing challenges, whether those are seasonally driven or otherwise by cycles inside of the business. It can help you understand when you should be concerned and when really what you have going on is a timing issue. But one of the key things that I think cash flow analysis can do for you is to help you look forward. It can truly be management's secret weapon when it comes to decision making. And here's what I mean by that. By doing a forward looking cash flow analysis, and maybe not to the same degree that you did when you were looking at historical results, but doing some simple projections, taking into consideration the elements of timing that you may have identified in the historical results. All of those things are items that management can consider when they're looking at making a major investment. The time to do that is when your cash flow is at a peak and not when it's in a valley. You can also look at cash flow analysis to help you understand when making debt payments in excess of the requirements might be a good idea, when you may want to consider paying some additional dividends or giving employee bonuses. You can do those with a robust cash flow projection, certainly, but you can also do those utilizing what you've learned from the historical analysis that you've done. The magic, if you will, is really in the combination of the two. And I would encourage all businesses to consider some form of forward looking cash flow analysis or projections based on the overall timing of the business operations, particularly when they're considering making some larger decisions as it relates to the results or the operations of the company. And those could be some of the examples that I just talked about. It could also be if you're considering moving facilities, that can be a very disruptive and expensive undertaking. You may also want to think about cash flow analysis as being a tenet of decision making when there are economic changes afoot. If you have reason to think that there are elements outside of the company itself that could impact the cash flow results on a future basis, you can certainly estimate them. Some good examples might be if you've had a competitor enter the marketplace that your company is operating in, or exit the marketplace that your company is operating in. Each of those could generate a change in your overall cash flow, as well as other parts of your financial statements and in the operations of the company itself. But the cash flow done historically and consistently can be a great framework in which to analyze the decisions that are being made. A lot of decisions inside companies are based on how much revenue is it going to generate, what are the related expenses associated with that, how does that impact other things throughout the company. And there's not always a big consideration for what the cash flow impacts are. And they don't even have to be giant decisions either. Let's say that your company has decided that they want to introduce a new product line. And that product line has a different set of customers and a different sales process and a different service process than the other things that your company already offers. As a result of that, you're going to need to hire people to do all of those different functions, to do the selling, to do the customer service, maybe to do some of the back end work. There might be other expenses associated with turning up that product line as well, whether those are inventory or the sales cycle, commissions that need to be paid, discounts that have to be given to customers, just a whole host of different elements. But what I know to be true is that as soon as you hire those people, you're going to have to pay them, even if you don't have customer number one in the door for that new product. And you're going to have to buy inventory if it's that type of product or sales process and have that on hand as well. So now you're making an upfront investment in inventory and people, and at least those people costs are going to continue to put an additional requirement on the cash flow. Having a historical cash flow with payroll at, say, $100,000 every 2 weeks, that suddenly goes to $120,000 every 2 weeks is not insignificant, particularly if in the short term there's no additional cash inflows that are going to be available to fund those payroll costs. Knowing what your cash requirements are on a weekly or monthly basis can really help management understand the implications to the cash flow when those decisions get made. Without that cash flow analysis, it's much easier to rationalize or make those decisions in an income statement bubble. And that doesn't mean that that shouldn't be looked at, that it shouldn't be a consideration. But the income statement is not the full picture the way that the cash flow analysis is. And the best decisions get made with a consideration for each side of that equation. That's why I really think about cash flow analysis as being a management's secret weapon when it comes to decision making. Decision making that includes cash flow as a part of the consideration is often going to result in a much stronger financial position than those who don't consider it. That short-term ramp-up window or that short-term time frame where a new piece of equipment is bought before it starts to get up and adding to the efficiency of the company, when a new product line is being launched and it's costing money before it's generating money, when those dividends go out the door and it takes 3 or 4 months to backfill the cash coffers associated with those payments. All of those things are great problems to have in your business because that means your business has the cash flow to support them. But they can also, on the back end, create a lot of stress if they're not made in conjunction with the strongest parts of the cash flow cycle. Let me know if you use cash flow analysis and considerations when you're making those big decisions inside your company or with your clients. I'd love to hear about them in the comments. And also, please be sure to subscribe to our channel so you can get even more videos like this one.